Good morning, everyone. How are you all today? I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to Agent School. Good morning, everyone. How are you all today? Let me mute my YouTube so you're not hearing me in stereo there. Welcome to Agent School. This is a place where you can definitely get valuable information as you are beginning your career. I really wish somebody had had agent school for me back when I began my real estate career 24 years ago. How are you all? Oh, good. Tammy got her date for the California test. Good morning, Carrie Emmert, Gabrielle, Daniel. My goodness, what a great group. Calvin Lampert's here today. Well, I have to agree with you. It is cold in Dallas, Texas today. Usually I don't say that to you because it's not, but today it's quite chilly. Yes. I'm watching your chat. Good morning, Martha Aranda in Texas. Yes, I want to welcome all of you here today. If this is your first time to be with us at Agent School, probably some new people joining us today. So we are so very happy to have you here. And then also welcome to all of our regulars. Great group. Jennifer in El Paso, Texas. Linda says it's cold in Jersey. Oh, Megan is a newly licensed agent. Yes, good. I'm glad this is helpful. Yes, when you're brand new in the business, it's difficult to know what all am I supposed to be doing. So Agent School is designed especially for that, to help you so that you can get started in your business. Good morning, Rhoda. Yes. Oh, thank you, DJ. I count it quite an honor to get to teach you. That's a very kind comment. Hi, Anna Jean. Great to see you here. And Beverly. Beverly says, still having coffee. I'm on my second iced latte of the day. As I have probably told you before, I have to begin my day every day with an iced latte. Sweet Country Bear in Texas, hello to you. A lot of Texas people here today. And there's Carol Ann in Boston. Oh, yeah. Some of you are posting on here that you might have taken your exam and not passed it. Please don't feel badly about that. It's a tough exam. The questions are worded difficult. It has nothing to do with how smart you are or how well you will do in real estate. You are all extremely intelligent and you are going to do quite well in your real estate career. So please do not get discouraged. It takes a very organized, systematic approach, as we talk about in our prep agent part. Today, we are going to be talking about fees and cost, something that everybody wants to know about as they are beginning their real estate career. Now, I want to say from the very beginning, we all have a different budget. Some people have more money than other people to spend on their real estate. So you can keep this as basic as you want. I'm going to go over a lot of just basic things that I imagine most of you already have. And then if you want to spend even more money, you can make this as fancy as you want. But real estate really just requires the basics. And I know it's very expensive to transition from one career to the other. So you can do that without having to spend a whole lot of money. Oli's taking the exam tomorrow in Oakland. Let's all send Oli best wishes for that. Yep. Carol Ann says a chai latte. That sounds good as well. I'm having what am I having? Hazelnut. I think mine's hazelnut today. Hazelnut's usually my favorite. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get started. The first thing that you're going to want to talk about with the brokerages that you interview, and you know that I want you to interview a minimum of 3, will be the brokerage split. Now, this can vary. So I want you to ask very detailed questions of the brokers that you're interviewing with as to what all of the costs are. It may be a brokerage split that's 70-30, 80-20. It might be 90-10. Oh, it could be any kind of percentage. There are some brokers that have a flat fee where you pay per transaction. For example, $500, $200, whatever it might be per transaction. Ask this question, please, Mr. Ms. Broker, tell me every single fee that I am going to have to pay, because a lot of times there are many small fees that can add up. Is there a monthly office fee? There are some brokerages that will charge you a monthly fee. Some of them have a brick and mortar office. Most people nowadays, I think, especially with COVID, are working from home. But there are still many brick and mortar brokerages, and they will charge you an office fee. So you want to ask about that. Errors and omissions insurance. We call that E&O insurance. Mr. and Ms. Broker, I need to know, do you have E&O insurance? What are the coverage limits? How much is this going to cost me? What is this going to cost me? Are you going to charge me a per transaction E&O insurance fee? Are you going to charge me a yearly fee? How much am I going to have to pay for this? What about copies? Maybe you're going to a brick and mortar office. Maybe, it was pre-COVID, pre the pandemic or whatever. Are copies free? Do I have to pay for them? Some people have a paperless file. Some people still make copies of things, but they can add up. Franchise fees. This is a really great question for you to ask. Are there any franchise fees? How much are they? Mentorship fees. You know that one of the most important things, well, actually the most important thing for you is the education, the training that you are going to receive. Also the availability of someone helping you, because you will not have written a contract before. You need somebody there to help you. It is on the job kind of training. So will I have to pay a mentor if you're assigning a mentor to me? The other thing I want you to ask about mentors is going to be, tell me about the mentor you're assigning to me. I'm going to have to pay money to them. So is this a good mentor? How long have they been in the business? How many real estate transactions have they done? In Texas, somebody who calls themselves a mentor, the real estate commission here doesn't have any other qualifications and they want to call themselves a mentor. It could be somebody that got their license last week. Well, if you are paying somebody for this service, you want to make sure it's the best of the best that you're working with. So these are some very important questions to ask about your brokerage split. There are also companies that have what I call a downline, kind of like, if you remember, I'm going to compare it to like Amway kind of back, if you remember Amway many, many years ago. And so they had like a downline. So there are some brokerages where if an agent refers somebody and they bring you in their downline, they're going to make money off of you as well. Do they have something like that? Now I'm going to check your chat because I know you have been busy on here while I've been talking. So let me see what I've missed. Let's see. Tammy says, I have no idea what typical mentor fees are. It just varies, Tammy. It just varies. There's not really a typical one. And yes, Carrie, that's Carrie saying typically it's a percentage, and that's usually correct. I have seen it be like a dollar amount per transaction, but most often I see it like Carrie is saying that it's a percentage. Yeah, let's see what else you're saying here. I have a feeling I may have missed some of your questions as it was scrolling by quickly. Send them to me again. If I miss answering a question for you, I did not see it. So send it to me over and over again until I see it. Or you can always email me at cynthia@prepagent.com because I do want to make certain I answer all of your questions. Hello, Cynthia Johnson in Beaumont, Texas. Yeah, Tammy, we're going to be talking about MLS fees here shortly. Mike, some brokers have a startup onboard fee and some don't. It just varies per brokerage. So these are definitely questions you want to be asking. That's why I want you to ask them, tell me the total dollar amount. Tell me all of the fees. You don't want them to sugarcoat it for you. You want to know what all those fees are so that you are prepared for that because they can add up. Is there an agreement time with a brokerage? Typically not, Jameson. That possibly could vary per state. Most of you will be an independent contractor. The brokerages should be giving you a policies and procedures manual. I would not sign up with a brokerage until I had read that in great detail. And if they had something that pertained to that, it would be in the policies and procedures manual. Welcome, Uraldi. Glad to have you here today. Uraldi is new to our group. We're very glad to have you. Taylor, thank you for this question. Would you encourage us to try to negotiate a commission split? Absolutely. There are some brokerages that won't budge. This is what it is. Everyone gets the same commission split. There are others that you absolutely can negotiate with. Now, you're new in the industry, but you come from amazing backgrounds, amazing careers. There are many skills from your previous careers that carry over directly to real estate. I want you to use those when you are negotiating, when you are talking to those brokers. I would take a copy of your resume with you. If you are not pleased with the commission split that they are giving, then I would definitely say, well, I understand I just got my real estate license, but look at my background. I've been in sales for 25 years. Or I'm in the medical profession. I'm used to all of the details. So there's all kinds of different professions where you can take those skills directly over to your real estate. Use those as you are negotiating. And if you don't like what the commission split is, what they're offering, remember there are many, many brokerages that you can go to. Oh, Nikki was an on-air radio personality. That will absolutely help. Yes, use that. Yes, Tammy, your resume. Take your resume with you. Everyone should always keep the resume up to date all the time. Teresa says, I signed a contract with the brokerage. Can I break it? Typically, as an independent contractor, that is allowed. However, I would not want to say 100% because I don't know the details of your brokerage that you signed with or what that contract looks like. You would definitely want to ask an attorney that question, Teresa, and find out that information there. Also, you would want to go in and read that policies and procedures manual for that brokerage and see if they have something in there about that. Tammy says, can we refer them to a LinkedIn site? And so they probably already checked your LinkedIn site. I know that I do that on a regular basis. So I'm always looking on LinkedIn to check somebody's experience. I would definitely take your resume. Yeah, we're going to talk about the MLS here shortly, Carol Ann, because you're right. There are expenses with all of that. Let's see. I'm reading your chat. Should you be writing the answers to our questions? Yes, take notes. Yes, and your meeting, Enrique, may be via Zoom, so you may be sitting right there in your home office, and I would definitely be writing answers to the questions. Mylene Joseph says, well, I'm studying. How do I get in touch with a brokerage? I would just call various brokerages in your area that you're interested in interviewing with, because I would definitely start the interview process before you get your real estate license. Tanya, it's always great to have a resume. You don't have to make one and take one with you, but I think it's always a great plan. You all come from brilliant backgrounds. You've had wonderful careers. Jamie says, choosing a broker is really stressful. It is. It's very stressful, but it will make or break your career. Some of you have heard my story, how I didn't go with the right broker at the very beginning. I got no training. I wasted a good 2 years before I got busy in real estate. Yeah, Mike says all the brokers had already looked at the LinkedIn and social media. Yes, and we want to always be. That's a great point. He says, beware. And we always want to be very professional on our social media and our LinkedIn, because somebody probably that we're interested in putting our license with may already have taken a look at it. So we want it to be very impressive. Nikki, you've got this. Everybody send Nikki some well wishes. She's taking her state exam Saturday. We're all cheering you on, Nikki. You've got this. Tammy, that's okay to change your mind about a broker. Again, this is the most important choice that you are going to make. So you've got to do your background work on this to make certain that that you are choosing the right broker. Let's see. Yeah. How do you decide who has the best training? Jamie, wonderful question. Everyone says the same thing about themselves. That's really hard to know, because each brokerage is trying to sell their product, their brokerage, because this is sales. I think sometimes it's just an intuition, and then asking a whole lot of questions as well, and being satisfied with the answers that they're giving you. Again, the main things I'm looking for: education, training, and then being available to help you. This is not an 8 to 5 business. So, Mr. and Ms. Broker, I need somebody who's going to be there at 10 o'clock at night when I'm writing my first offer. Is there going to be somebody there to help me? Yeah, Hunter, I did too. The first 2 brokers I chose were definitely not the right ones for me. I learned nothing, and I was very behind for about 2 years. And when I got with the right broker, it made all the difference. I went from having no business to being a top producer very quickly. Yes, that's a great idea. Mimi Howell team has a idea for you. Talk to at least 3 agents at the brokerage. That's right. That's a good idea. What is their experience? Yeah. Okay, so everyone okay with all of the different questions you need to ask about the brokerage split? Again, we're looking for all of those dollar amounts. How much? What all are you going to charge me for? Tell me everything. I need to know all of those amounts. Remember, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. This is a great practice in you being good negotiators. Yeah. Okay, moving on. The dues and the fees. Now, some of you have already been asking about this. So there will be some dues, some fees that you have to pay. I'm located in Texas. So I used myself kind of as an example. Understand that this can vary per state as to how much this is. So you will need to ask for your particular situation how much these things are going to cost, because they can vary a little bit. Most of you are going to be joining the National Association of Realtors, your state association, and your local association. That is what allows you to call yourself a realtor. And make sure you're pronouncing it correctly. Everyone say it to yourself right now. Realtor, only 2 syllables, not 3. So this is what allows you to call yourself a realtor, by having these memberships. In Texas, and again, this can vary a little bit per state, but I'm just going to tell you how I do it with my brokerage, how I do it with my license. So I pay all of these dues at the local level. That covers all 3 memberships. And again, you're going to check with your associations to see how to do this, and with your broker. This also includes my MLS, my multiple listing service, and I also have a Supra key card. This can again vary. I'm just using this as an example. This could vary for you per what state you're in. So I have a Supra key card. I have it on my phone. This is what allows me access to the properties that I'm showing. Approximately what I pay a year for all of those things, it's about $1,100. And I pay some of those fees quarterly. Again, this can vary per state. So make sure you're hearing me on that it can vary per state and the membership associations as to what these fees are. In Texas, they prorate this when you join, And usually this is going to be the biggest expense that a new agent in my state is going to have, would be the dues and fees from these memberships. Your broker that you are going to put your license with, or even when you're interviewing, should have the fees, the dues specific to your state. So you want to ask this question. Jamie says, how do you know which training is best? This is what's really difficult for you as a brand new agent, because you don't really know. You're just learning the laws, the rules, how to do real estate. I have seen some brokerages teach wrong information. That's just one of the most difficult things of all, Jamie. Again, I'm going to go back to, I think, your intuition, and also watching our agent school, because we're giving you as much information as we can to really help you choose correctly with that. I have another webinar I've done on questions to ask brokers. So you might go back, you might take a look at that and come up with some questions about the training, the education, so that you can figure out what is going to be best. And I'm not looking for training and teaching you how to sell something. Real estate's all about emotions. It's somebody's home. We're helping people, but you've got to know the laws, the rules, how to write the contracts. You have to know the product you're selling. Anyone in sales will tell you, you have to know the product that you're selling. Then you will be able to do well in whatever product that is. In this one, it's real estate. Will a broker expect that they have prospective sellers, buyers already tentatively lined up when they interview with them? More than likely not. That is something you could go ahead and do, though, is start working on your database of your sphere of influence. Yeah. Rebecca says this is, so in California, it was pretty close to Texas. It sounds like what Rebecca's saying. She said that's what the broker said her yearly fees would be in California. Okay. I'm so glad you're liking the agent school, Cynthia. I am so enjoying teaching it. When I finish teaching a class, I always tell Joe, Stu, and Arthur, it just energizes me. It's so much fun to get to teach you all of this. Yeah, let me see. I'm watching your chat. Okay, so these are some of the dues and fees. Now, remember that you're going to be licensed as a sales agent and a broker. Those are the two things that people are licensed as. Some states call it a broker, managing broker. So if your broker is a member and allowed to call themselves a realtor, you will have to join as well. So, and you get so much for this money. I mean, think about, I'm paying $1,100 and I'm getting all of this. And there are so many benefits available to just so educational things, just wonderful, wonderful information. It's included in this $1,100 figure. They separate it out, but I still pay it at my local association. Yeah, they separate it out as a separate fee, but it's still paid to the same people. Oh, Misty, that's a great idea. Following or shadowing to be trained. That's how I learned real estate, is I shadowed the broker. When I finally found the right broker, I just shadowed her, and that's how I learned real estate. That's right. The MLS is separate, Hunter. That's exactly right. I do pay it at the same place, though. It's just separated out on the bill. I'm always optimistic. You're going to be an independent contractor the majority of the time. And so you will typically sign an independent contractor agreement, and you do have to sign a statement of understanding that once a year per the IRS rules. I'm not a CPA, but you want to talk to your CPA about all of that as well, so that you understand, and also get a good CPA so you know what you can write off, know how to pay your taxes quarterly, all that kind of thing. Jamie, do you think a small office of 22 would be better than an office of 144? It just varies. Everyone is looking for something different. I would definitely interview small, medium, and large. The broker that I learned everything from, there were 10 of us, and she taught me everything I know. So there are good, small, medium, and large. There are bad, small, medium, and large as far as training. You just have to spend your time, asking the questions, doing the interviewing. Okay, so let's move on. Now, I did a webinar for you, I think it was week before last, on certifications and designations. So I encourage you to get the certifications and designations that interest you. Knowledge is always power. Having those initials beyond your name, very, very helpful. So you might be paying to get some designations, some certifications. On some of my designations, I have to renew them every year, like my ABR, my Accredited Buyer's Representative, my green designation. Those are about $100 a year to renew them. That's not much at all. That's really inexpensive. The other thing is you'll have your license renewal fees. So for your real estate commission to keep your license, you'll have your renewal fees for those. So that license renewal fee, that is not optional. If you would like to keep your license, you have got to pay to renew your fees and take the education that's required for your state. The designation, that would be something optional you could do, but it's so inexpensive to get those designations and certifications. You pay a one-time fee, usually for the classes. And then, like I said, on some of them, you have to pay a yearly fee to continue to use those initials beyond your name. Megan Waddell, can I pay the MLS separate from the realtor fees? You just have to look at how it's set up in your state. Yeah, it could be a little bit different. Oh, good, Carrie. Doing the green designation in Oregon. Yes, that's my favorite one. I love all the environmental part. Mike says, how many years do you get on your license in Texas before renewal? 2 years. And the first renewal in Texas is SAE, and it is a lot of hours. After that, it's CE, and it's 18 hours. Oh, good, Velvet. She signed up for the CHMS, the Certified Home Marketing Specialist. I am so glad. You are going to enjoy taking that, and you automatically have those initials beyond your name when you get your real estate license. So people won't be saying, Velvet, how long have you been in real estate? And you may have already gotten your real estate license. I cannot remember if you had passed your test yet, or taken your test yet, I should say, or not. But that's wonderful that you are getting the CHMS. Misty says, the broker I want to work for is super small, and 1 year in made over 14 million in sales. Wow. That's very good. That's very good. Let's see. Am I missing a question from Tammy? I may have missed a question. Let's see. Keep putting it through to me, Tammy, if I missed it. Don't forget, you can always email me, Cynthia@prepagent.com, if I missed one of your questions. Very important to me that I answer them all for you. That's what I was thinking, Velvet, that you had not taken the test yet. And I am so beyond impressed that you are already signed up for the CHMS. Everybody send out that's awesome to Velvet, that she's already signed up for that. Once she gets her license, she's already going to have initials beyond her name. The CHMS, Mylene Joseph, is Certified Home Marketing Specialist. You can go back to my previous webinar on certifications and designations. Hello, Marie H. Yeah, oh, Carrie, yeah, I would definitely go back and watch that webinar. It's very interesting. There's so many different designations and certifications. Oh, Mike says, can you recommend an app for expense fee tracking for real estate agents? There are so many different ones, Mike. The brokers that you are thinking of going with may have some that they can recommend to you. There are so many. We should do we'll try to do a webinar one day on different apps. Great idea. I'm going to write that down right now. Yeah. Cynthia Johnson, how do you inquire about green? If you go to my webinar, I have the link on there so that you can see how to look into getting the green designation. Oh, I didn't realize that either, Velvet. There's 2 Velvets on here. So that's such a pretty name. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Okay. Now, this is where you can get as fancy as you want, or you can keep it very basic. And I'm thinking you probably already have a lot of these things, and this is the equipment. You've got to have a computer of some kind, whether it be a laptop, a tablet, an iPad. I have a laptop that I take everywhere with me, that I always have with me. And I had not had any kind of desktop for a long time. And I do so much teaching and so many webinars that I bought an all-in-one recently for my desk. And so I have that in my laptop as well. I'm really enjoying the all-in-one computer. It's been such a great thing. It's got a huge screen on it. I've really enjoyed that to have on my desk. But you probably already have a laptop, tablet, or iPad. So that expense you probably already have covered. Cell phone, you've got to have a telephone. You've got to be able to communicate with people. I'm sure you all have a cell phone. A printer. I bet each one of you have a printer. You can get a printer and not spend a whole lot of money. Most things we do paperless. So maybe you're not even using your printer very often, but you still need to have one. A scanner. Now, a scanner, we do use a scanner quite a bit. So maybe you could get a printer if you don't want to spend a lot of money that has a scanner with it. Misty says, I ran out of ink yesterday. I know. That ink is expensive too for the printers. A key box, you're going to need some key boxes. Your state may call them something different that you put on the doors. In Texas, I pay about $130 for each key box. So that would be some equipment that you would need to have. And I've been on my list here. Oh, I didn't mention internet connection. So most of us work from home. So I'm sure most of you already have an internet connection. I bet the only thing on this list that the majority of you don't already have is a key box. Yeah, I bet that's Nikki. She says, are all of these tax deductible? If you are working as an independent contractor, I recommend that you get a CPA, a really good CPA. They will teach you about deductions. They'll teach you how to keep all of your records so that you can get your taxes filed every year. And you always want to stay up to date on every bit of that. Keep good records, have good records. Mimi Howell team, do you have to pay NAR fees twice if licensed in Texas and Arizona? That's a very good question. You would just have to check with each of the associations and see how they would set that up for you. Yeah, I think we're all agreeing that we spend too much on ink. DocuSign. Okay, so for my Texas realtors, we have what's called zip forms, and so it can vary per state again, and that's included with my Texas realtors. I don't pay any extra for that. That's part of that $1,100 that I pay a year. If you're getting some other kind of electronic signature program that might not be already covered, you may have to pay for that. But find out what's already included in what you're paying. Mike says, I have an older one. The realtor left from a home he sold on the door. Yes, a lot of times when you have a listing, agents will leave the key box, and a buyer moves into the house, and they're like, could you please come get this key box off the door, because they're so big and bulky, and sometimes they forget. So yeah. Mimi says with her company, the DocuSign is included. So that's a question you want to ask, because it might be, might not be. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Mike says combo lock. So some people do use combo locks. I like our key boxes that we have, because they record everybody who's gone into that property. So it's much more secure, because I can go in, I can read. If I have a seller and they say, hey, somebody came into this property and I wasn't expecting anyone, but they left the lights on or whatever, a seller just knows if somebody's been in their house. I can go back and I can see who went in and showed that house and did not have an appointment. Mylanie Joseph, great question. How do you get a key box at your local association? Yeah, I love zip forms. That's what I use all the time. It works great. Yeah, Lady Kaju, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, that's very common to leave the key box on the home. And I don't know why a licensee would do that. Again, I pay $130 for each key box approximately. So I'm not going to leave it anywhere. That's a lot of money. Yeah. Again, I love your questions. Is some of you have interviewed and some of you are saying, oh, they cover this at the brokerage. They cover this at the brokerage. They don't cover this at this brokerage. So you are seeing, you're learning from each other that you really have to ask very, very specific questions about what all those brokerages cover. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, moving on. I love your questions today. They're wonderful. Some supplies. We already talked about that really expensive ink for the printer. And why does it run out so quickly? It's like, I just bought ink. Why has it run out again? Because most of everything I do is paperless. Also paper. You always want to have some paper. And when you are brand new in the business, I do think it's easier for you to learn how to write offers and review offers and contracts if you've printed them out. Maybe it's just me, but for some reason that's much easier, I think, at the very beginning if you've printed it out. Nikki, you are considered an independent contractor, so you have to pretty much buy everything. Yeah, Nikki says, what if you have 6 houses on the market? Well, that means you're going to be making so much money, Nikki, that you're going to have to buy 6 key boxes probably. Mike, that's right. A laser is much better. A laser printer as far as the value. And again, you may want to, if you've got the budget, invest in a really, really nice printer. Get you a nice laser printer. That's right. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad this is helpful for you. Oh, Daniel says, don't forget a shredding machine. That's true, Daniel. And those don't cost a whole lot. I bet you already probably have one at home. Also, different states have different rules as to how long you have to keep your documents. So in Texas, we have to keep them for 4 years. And so whenever I go through my files on a regular basis, and the ones that I can go ahead and get rid of, I hire a shredding company. They have all the mobile shredding companies. They'll just come to your house or your office or whatever and get all those documents shredded. Mike, typically it's 8.5 by 11 paper that you'll need. It would be very unusual that I ever had to print anything that was legal size. The only thing that sometimes is legal size is a survey. But sometimes I can reduce that down. Josie says, do you recommend a credit card, especially for your business? I do that. It makes record keeping easier. Again, I would talk to your CPA about that. Oh, Diana says, paper clips. I always have paper clips, a stapler, just your regular little office supplies. Dina Cartwright says, Dollar Tree. I love those stores. You can get the greatest things. Yes, I do one-on-ones with new agents on a regular basis. I don't have any agents in my brokerage right now because I teach all the time for the most part. I still have a brokerage and I do a lot of repeat referral kind of business. But I used to have agents, and one-on-ones were very important. Once a week, I want to know about the agent. I want to know that they're meeting their goals. How can I help them? And without the one-on-ones, there's no way I can know that. Yeah. Mike, as far as lender docs, most of the time, the only thing you're going to have is like the pre-qualification, pre-approval letter. That's usually 8.5 by 11. All right, moving on. We could talk about all of this all day long. It's such interesting information. Transportation, you're going to have a car payment or a lease on your car. I bet you already have that anyway. The gas that you have to pay for that, repairing your vehicle, upkeep on your vehicle, car insurance. The brokerage may have you list them on your car insurance as an insured. So you want to double check and see how the brokerage does that. That can vary. As far as transportation, again, I do not put people in my vehicle. That's just my personal choice. But I feel much safer if people are following me. I don't want to put them in my vehicle. A lot of people say, do I have to have a really high-end car and all? No, you don't. You just have to have a nice, clean vehicle that looks nice, but you don't have to go and spend all your money buying some real expensive car. You just need reliable, nice, clean transportation. If somebody's going to decide if they want to use me as a licensee by the car I drive, then I'm probably not going to really understand that too much. Dina, talk to your CPA about your car tax deductions because they will give you some valuable information on that. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Martha. I love to learn. I am constantly learning all day, every day, and I learn from you when I'm teaching you. Advertising. No one's going to know you're in the business unless you advertise. The best advertising tool that you can have, besides, of course, all your social media and all, that little name badge. It cost $15. Put that name badge on, especially when it's not during a COVID pandemic. It's amazing how much business I have gotten over the years from just wearing my name badge. Business cards. Some brokerages will give you a certain number of business cards at the very beginning. Enrique, a CPA, a certified public accountant. They're the ones that they know all the tax laws. Also, for sale signs, because you are an independent contractor, chances are you're going to have to pay for your for sale signs. Sometimes your broker will let you borrow one. But since you're an independent contractor, many times you're paying for your own. I pay a minimum of about $100 to $120 for my for sale signs. Maybe you want to have some brochures made that have all your information. Maybe you don't want any brochures. And then if you're advertising on social media, you have a Facebook business page, things like that. There are so many things that you can do that don't cost anything. Carrie Emmert says t-shirts or jackets, great idea. Let me see your other ideas for advertising. What other ones? I've just given you some very basic ones. I'm trying to keep the costs down on today's webinar because I know that sometimes it can be overwhelming when you're changing from one career to the other. So I want you to know you can do this without spending a lot of money. And then, like I told you at the beginning, you can get as fancy as you want. Spend a lot more if you want to. Let's see. I'm reading your... let's see. My initial startup cost for the first year all in... Oh gosh, I would have to go back and add it up. It depends really on how fancy you've gotten with it all. Yeah, Clark says, don't forget you can write things off. Yeah, that's why I want everyone to get that good CPA. Gabrielle, great question. There are all kinds of programs that you can use for accounting programs to keep track of everything, and I would check and see what your CPA wants you to use. Carrie Emmert, pens would be great. Yes, let me tell you what I do with pens. Pens are so inexpensive to purchase. So before the pandemic, when we went out to eat all the time, I always signed my whenever I went out to eat and they brought me my check, I always signed it with my pen and I left it there after I signed it. So every time I went out to eat, I left my pen. That could also be anywhere else you go where you have to sign the receipt or whatever. Leave your pen. One of the most inexpensive advertising tools of all. And oftentimes I would go back to that restaurant and I was signing again with my own pen. So I just left them another one too. Sheena says hand sanitizer. Yeah, everyone loves hand sanitizer right now, right? Planners and schedules. Everyone likes to do that differently. We have a webinar on time management And we go into the different types of planners, way to keep your schedules, things of that sort there. Yeah, the pens they work great. That's one of my very favorite things to do. Yeah. Yes, Carrie's helping us out with the chat moving so fast. She's helping me in case I don't see some. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie's an awesome student. Yeah. Diana likes the Franklin planner. Yeah. All right, so again, advertising, these are just some little basics right here, but you can add so many more things to this. These things aren't expensive. I mean, the name badge, like I said, $15, your business cards, you can go to a lot of different companies and get very inexpensive business cards. Make sure that you're in compliance with all the rules of including your broker, all of that kind of thing on any kind of advertising that you're doing. Okay, moving right on, career development. To me, this is one of the most important expenses because of the fact that you have to keep learning. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know the product you're selling, and the only way you can do that is through education. So you are going to have ongoing cost of training. To keep your license, you have to do continuing education. That varies per state. I encourage you to check with your state and see if you can work in some of those designations and certifications, especially like the GRI, the Graduate Realtor Institute, as you're doing your continuing ed, so you get those initials beyond your name as well. You want to double check, make sure you're understanding this with your real estate commission to make sure that it will apply toward whatever their requirements are to keep your license. I want you to not just do the bare minimum of education to keep your license. I want you to go above and beyond. Again, the knowledge is power. Networking groups. You can join some networking groups. Now, I have a little different twist on this. I don't network with other licensees. I have a great relationship with them. We have great rapport. I know many agents. But if I'm going to go out and network, and again, we're talking pre-pandemic, I don't want to go where there are a whole lot of other licensees selling real estate. I'd rather go to network groups where there are insurance agents, lenders, inspectors. Oh, my goodness. People who are going to send me business. If I'm going to a networking group and it's just all real estate licensees, that's just my competition. I want these other people to refer me business. If I'm just networking with a bunch of licensees, they're not referring me any business. Unless it's maybe from another state or whatever, or if they have so much business they can't handle it all, so they refer me something. But my best opportunities with those networking groups are to venture out, to go to ones, insurance agents, attorneys. Like a lot of people get their real estate business from different attorneys, like divorce attorneys, probate attorneys, things like that. Critical Thinkers, the 8 says, I passed both exams yesterday. That is wonderful. Everybody send a congratulations to Critical Thinker 8. Passed her licensing exam yesterday. All right. Certifications, designations. Again, we've talked about that in another webinar, so that's always a great idea. To spend the money to get those, and then I've talked to you already about some of the ongoing yearly expenses for that. Now, we've talked about getting a good CPA all the way through. This is something you could go ahead and do now, is find you a CPA that's very familiar with you being an independent contractor, so they can educate you on what you can deduct on your taxes. Most of the time they require you to pay your taxes quarterly, so check with your CPA on that. And again, they are the ones who are going to teach you how to do accurate record keeping. Health insurance. Since you're an independent contractor, you need to have your own health insurance. If you're an independent contractor, those brokerages can't pay for benefits for you like if you were an employee. I've seen a lot of brokerages advertising that they have health insurance here lately. I want you to ask the questions on that. What I see when I go in and really look at that is that they're not providing you insurance. They just are giving you some names of some insurance companies that might have a good rate. So ask those questions. because typically they're not able to provide you health insurance or different benefits like that because you are an independent contractor. Now, there are some brokerages that are an employer-employee business model. That's the difference. So if you're needing benefits or whatever, you might check employer-employee real estate business models. And then again, you want to ask those questions. Do you have any benefits that you're providing to me? Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you have learned a lot of things today. Again, what we covered today, I was trying to keep the cost down because I know you have a lot of expenses as you start out. So I wanted to kind of keep the cost down for you. And you can spend a lot more money, or you can keep these costs low as you begin. That's entirely up to you. Everyone has a different budget that they are working with. I hope you have all learned something today. As I said, it is always such an honor to teach you all. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. Teaching is my favorite thing to do. You're such a fantastic group. All right, everyone. Thanks again for being here at Agent School. Bye, everyone.